Okay, so I'm starting this vlog here in the car because I think they are going to cut off the last of my colored hair today. And I want to talk about this more in depth. I will be back because there was a comment made on an Instagram post I did about my hair that really has my brain churning. And the woman was very well meaning. This is not meaning to call her out, but she said, "You're so brave because I'm growing out my natural hair color." So we're going to talk about that, why I'm brave, but not because I'm growing out my hair color. We're going to talk about kind of the underlying misogyny in that I think as women, we don't even realize we're participating in. So, just a little light watching for you today. But also I'm going to talk about my own journey with my gray hair, why growing it out has been such a stake in the ground moment for me. Very big deal, far more spiritual than I anticipated. And it's not just about hair. And I'm really glad you're here. I'm back from getting my hair done. And I feel like it maybe isn't reading on camera, but it's like all my own hair now. I mean, it was my own hair before, but it's now all my own color. I got emotional, like really emotional, sitting in the chair. And I mean, listen, hair is a big thing and it's not a big thing, right? Like hair and women, I mean, there's a whole musical written about hair in culture. Friends of mine that are, have hair that is a very different texture than mine. Hair is a whole thing. Like people not honoring their hair and the way they engage with the world. So I'm not, like when I say it's just hair, I'm not minimizing that actually women and their hair is a thing. Like there's whole plot points in the Bible about hair, lots of them actually, with men and women. So for whatever reason, since the beginning of time, hair has been a thing. Women and coloring their hair has been a thing for a long time too. And when I started on this journey, it's weird because it's kind of, there's a word for it in psychology. Like if you get a red car, then everybody has a red car. When I started noticing how many much older than I am women were still coloring their hair, and there is a point where it just feels like it must be a lot of work and a lot of burden for them. And a bunch of people told me, when you know, you'll know. And I had talked to my colorist about it. So that would be like my very first tip. If you're thinking you might want to grow your hair out, and there's lots of ways to do it. You can do it cold turkey like I did. You can do gray blending, although gray blending does not work well if you have a lot of red in your hair or if you have colored your hair red, both of which were true for me. But there's steps you can take. Like a lot of women start doing blonde highlights first. That's why you see a lot of women in their 40s and 50s all of a sudden going blonde, because then they can kind of hide the gray. If you have, like I did, like one color, the growing out process is going to be very difficult and quite dramatic. I was okay with that. And especially because I film YouTube videos. Like you can go watch my videos over the last 18 months of this journey, and you can watch my hair grow out. And I kind of loved the rebellion of that, the kind of like, and maybe because I was raised in a very patriarchal system, I kind of liked the, I'm going to do this and I'm going to ignore what social norms say I should be doing, and I'm not going to color my hair anymore. And it was a big psychological thing for me. It was like a stake in the sand. I was saying, I'm not doing this. I'm not playing this game. I'm not participating in this system. I don't want to spend the money. I don't want to spend the time. And I want to stop looking at my roots all the time. I want to just have the hair be on my head and live my life. Good Lord. I think about that quote, Mother Teresa didn't worry about the size of her thighs because she had shit to do. I don't know who first said that, but that was like the thing in my head. It was like, I've got work to do. I've got work to do with my job. I've got work to do with my family. I feel like I have a place, even in terms of like social justice and anti-racism and all the things that are important to me, fighting for LGBTQ plus rights. Like, am I like the biggest player in all of those ways? Absolutely not. But I have a place, right? I have words that I'm supposed to say. I have things that I'm supposed to do. And I felt like constantly coloring my hair was getting in the way of that for me. Now, please do not hear me say that no woman who is 55 should be coloring her hair. There was a woman at my mom's assisted living facility that is in her 90s that is still coloring her hair. I wish her all of the power and love that goes behind that. This video is not about if someone should or shouldn't. I'm assuming if you clicked on it, then you are thinking of going natural and not coloring your hair anymore. But the people that told me when you know, you'll know were so 100% right, because it was like the day came and I mean, that's kind of my personality anyway, but I just knew, like I knew in my knowing that we were done, that there was no more hair dye in my life, that we were done. So the process for me started in March of 2024. So as this video is going up, we're right at 18 months out. I chose to do what they call the big chop. A lot of women, and I do prefer my hair longer. A lot of you said, oh, we love that length on you. Thank you. I would like it to get like shoulder length. That's really where I'd like it to stay. And now that it's almost completely all my natural color, I will go longer in between haircuts. But if you choose to do the big chop, obviously you will cut quite a bit of time off of your journey. They usually say year to ear. So that's how long it takes for your natural color to get like down to your ear. And now it's been 18 months for me. I did choose to do the big chop. I'll put a link to the video that I did when I did that, if you're interested in that. It really helped me with my impatience. I think the hardest part of the grow out was when, especially because as someone who's like in front of people every week, the hardest part was when my embarkation line was the most obvious. Once it got like to here, it didn't bother me anymore. But the first maybe, I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 months were a little rocky. And it also was a little rocky because people would comment. Like I got one really nasty comment about getting my roots done. And, you know, you just have to push through that. And part of it is it's okay with me because I choose to be in this field, and that's just part of it. But if you choose to do the big chop, that works well. I will say, have a really good relationship with whoever is cutting your hair. Michelle, who cuts my hair, knew what I was doing. She has been on my side this whole time. Today, when I was in there, and I'm going to cut to a clip of that now, we both got super emotional, and I'm going to show you that. So. Oh, maybe I won't. Okay, I'm with Michelle, y'all. Wave, Michelle. Tell the people, hey. All right, we're almost, what did you say? It's almost all gone, right?
Almost all gone. Just a teeny little tip.
Little teeny tiny bit, and the rest is all my hair. You know what I'm loving, Michelle, is like, this is from my great grandmother, the white right here. And I'm like, I could cry because I used to look at pictures of her and it would like make me so emotional that it was so beautiful. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. And look at that. That's so fun.
It's beautiful, and not only is it such a pretty color and an honor to have as part of your relationship with your grandmother, but like look how beautiful it makes your eyes look. It just frames your eyes beautifully.
Y'all, I'm actually crying. That's so silly. Can we show the back?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, look at that.
So the only part that you have left of the color is right there.
Yeah.
That's
so next
it.
time I feel
Next
like
time
it'll be gone.
I love you. I love you too. You're wonderful.
So she's been on this journey with me. Definitely get your hair trimmed frequently, because as it's growing out, the more you have like, layers and things like that, the more natural it will look as it's growing out. And if you have someone cutting your hair that knows what they're doing, that will make a very big difference. But I've been shocked. Like every time I've been in her chair, it's been emotional. And you heard me say in the video, this piece right here, my great-grandmother had that. And I didn't really know my great-grandmother, but I've seen pictures of her. And I saw that white streak. And I didn't know when I went to grow out my hair if I would have that white streak because it's genetic. And then I had it. And it's kind of like shaving your head. You don't know what's underneath there. By the way, that is another option. And women I know have done it. You can shave your head and start completely from scratch, which then your grow out will take no time at all. It'll be one day and you'll be done. But the like identification for me of generations of women that have come before me and their hair and the choices they've made with their hair, but not just that, but like this being one of my favorite writers, Austin Chaney Brown. She just came out with a new book, by the way. It's called Full of Myself. I will put the link down in the description box. And I think I've mentioned this a couple times on the channel, but she talks about being out of rhythm. She was in a job and she knew she was out of rhythm with the job she was in. That's how I was feeling with my hair. I was feeling like I was out of rhythm, like my outside persona was presenting one way, but who I was on the inside was very different. And we could get into that in a whole bunch of different things, right? In terms of gender and sexuality and all kinds of things. But for me, it was my hair. And I knew I was out of rhythm. And every time I would go get my hair colored, I had this little bit of a like, something is not right. I'm not quite where I'm supposed to be. So it's just hair, and yet it's something much broader than that. Now, when I first brought this up to my husband, he was a little anxious. And what you need to know is that I am 4.5 years younger than my husband. So I think for him, and he's been great for a long time, but there's a double standard, right? This is how it works. I think for him, me growing my hair to its natural color was a little bit of an identity issue for him. So at first, and he'll be the first to tell you this, he was a little like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, it's going to be great. This is what I want to do. And then of course he was like, it's your hair. You know, you do what you want to do. But even in that conversation, like, and then as it grew out, like he said to me just now when we were on our trip to Florida, he was like, your hair looks amazing. I'm so glad you did that. But I think what looks amazing about my hair is not the hair itself. It's me aligning myself with who I am at my core. It's me getting into rhythm with who I knew I was being called to be. And you could apply that to anything, right? It's not just hair. You could apply it to your job, how you're parenting, your relationships, like where are you out of rhythm? And I feel like at this big age, at 55 years old, for the first time in my life, I am fully even aware of what that rhythm is. Because you can't obviously make the changes unless you're aware of where you're out of rhythm. So it has been such a really deep spiritual experience. And I'm not alone in expressing it that way. I have talked to more women in the comment section of my videos, in DMs, who have said to me that they felt the same way, that it was sort of like a new birth for them, almost like, you know, a new awakening. And yes, mine did coincide with me now being fully in menopause and feeling like I can now live this next chapter of my life and fully embrace whatever comes next. So first tip would be talk to your hairstylist. Second tip would be, do you want to do the big chop or not? Third tip would be, you have to tune out the noise, because there is going to be no lack of opinions about what you should or shouldn't do with your hair. And if you start the journey and you change your mind, there's also no shame in that game, because it's your hair on your head and you get to decide. There's so much in this world that we don't get to decide, right? That is your choice. 100% unequivocally, you get to decide what happens with your own hair. I wish you got to decide what happens with your own body, but as we know, the way that decisions have been made about women in this country, that's not even true anymore. But I am, gosh darn it, gonna decide what happens with my own hair. I would say in terms of how kind of other people interacted with it, hardly anybody even notices. I did get a few comments on my videos. People were like, oh, it's gonna age you, you're gonna look so much older. Maybe I do. I feel so much younger. I feel so much more alive. I feel so much like ready, able, willing, and prepared to launch into my next phase of life. Not just because of my hair, but yeah, some of it has to do with my hair and making a choice to identify with what I was feeling on the inside, which is someone who was done with all that, done with those beauty standards, done with what other people's expectations were of me and what I look like on the outside. So if you are thinking of doing this, you will know when you know. Don't let anybody talk you out of it. Try it. If you get into it, I will say try not to chicken out at first. Like, give it some time. If you change your mind, no problem. And if anybody wants to say anything, I mean, bring it on. You get to decide. But if you've been feeling that pull, like this is something you want to do, I am happier than I've ever been in my entire life. partially because of my own work, things I'm learning, things I'm doing, the way that I have freed myself up to live a life I'm super, super proud of, and also too, because of my hair. So is it brave to grow out my hair? No. I have done many brave things in my life. I have stood up to a lot of injustices in my personal life, in the world. I have walked through things that you will never know about on this channel. Those things were brave. Growing out my hair, not so much brave. It has, however, been an absolute blast. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Share it with a friend, share it with a neighbor, maybe someone who is needing to get back in rhythm with who they are. And whatever you're doing today, I hope you're finding joy. And I'll see you next time. Bye.